Ever had a moment of déjà vu? A feeling that you've lived this exact experience before? What if that sensation isn't just a trick of the brain? What if it's real, a glitch that gives you a fleeting glimpse into another dimension where all versions of you exist? Let's unpack how déjà vu might be proof of your connection to parallel realities. Have you ever wondered what happens to the memories you can no longer recall? Are they really gone forever? Or is it possible they still exist somewhere, invisible but intact? Some scientists and thinkers believe that memory isn't just a product of the brain. It may extend far beyond into fields or even dimensions we can't consciously perceive. For decades, neuroscience has taught us that memory lives primarily in the brain. Specific areas like the hippocampus are responsible for consolidating and retrieving memories, while neural networks store the vast web of your experiences. But here's where it gets tricky. The brain as a storage drive model has serious limitations. When it comes to explaining how we experience phenomena like déjà vu, vivid, forgotten memories resurfacing after decades, or even remembering something we never consciously learned. Take, for instance, the sensation of remembering a face in a crowd that seems both familiar and unplaceable, only to later discover you'd seen a blurry photo of that person years ago. These moments reveal that memory might behave much more mysteriously than we've been taught. This is where some theorists venture into the realm of possibility that memory could exist in dimensions beyond our everyday understanding. Theoretical physics, through frameworks like string theory, opens a fascinating door to this idea. In string theory, the universe doesn't just consist of the three spatial dimensions and time. Instead, it suggests the existence of up to 11 dimensions, each layered and interwoven with the reality we experience. If we imagine these dimensions as hidden realms around us, inaccessible through conventional means, then one of them, the seventh, holds a particularly intriguing potential when we think about memory. Now, the seventh dimension stretches far beyond anything our senses can grasp. Unlike the 3D space you can see or the one-directional flow of time you experience, the seventh dimension exists as a realm where all possible timelines intersect. Past, present, and future aren't linear, but coexist in a vast simultaneous network. It's a dimension of unlimited possibilities, where every decision, every event, and every what-if scenario unfolds in parallel. Imagine walking into a library so enormous that it houses not only every book ever written, but also every book that could ever be written, based on every possible arrangement of words. In this analogy, the seventh dimension is the library, with your life as a set of unique volumes existing on its many shelves. Some of these books stay open, representing the memories you consciously access. Others sit closed, temporarily hidden from view but still very much present. Here's where it becomes personal. If your brain is no longer thought of as a hard drive storing finite data, what if instead it's acting more like a radio? When you tune a station, you're not creating the radio waves. They already exist all around you. You're simply picking up a specific frequency. Now, apply this idea to memory. Imagine that your brain is tuning into specific frequencies of your life experiences. The seventh dimension represents the sprawling cosmic range of frequencies you can't always detect. A space where every memory you've ever formed, and even those forgotten, continue to resonate. The concept isn't just abstract speculation. Physicist Michael Pravica has proposed that consciousness itself may interact with hidden dimensions. According to his theory, our awareness might be capable of accessing these hidden realities under the right conditions. Consider how some people report vivid memories while dreaming, types of recognition that feel as real as waking life, or how moments of deep meditation seem to bridge gaps between different parts of the mind, allowing long-forgotten fragments to surface. These experiences might not be producing memories, but retrieving them from places we haven't yet mapped. Even though traditional neuroscience tends to focus on the biological roots of memory, it struggles to explain the depth and persistence of what people seem to experience. Déjà vu, for example, is often dismissed as merely a neurological hiccup, a brief miscommunication in the brain. But what if the familiarity of these moments isn't a glitch at all? What if it's a fleeting perception of a memory residing in one of these hidden dimensions, a parallel timeline brushing up just close enough for you to sense it? If this is true, perhaps forgetting isn't the total loss we think it is. Instead of erasing memories, what if the act of forgetting is more like shifting your radio dial, slipping out of tune with one reality and syncing up with another? It could mean those forgotten moments haven't disappeared, they're simply inaccessible for now, waiting in a dimension where time and space no longer have meaning. This changes how we think about memory loss, doesn't it? Forgetting becomes less like losing photographs in a fire and more like misplacing a key to a hidden room, already filled with everything you've ever experienced. This way of thinking reshapes not just our understanding of memory, but our relationship with what we've left behind. If memories do continue to exist somewhere, the question becomes, how and when could we find them again? And perhaps even more curiously, do we already have glimpses of this other dimension without realizing it? Could déjà vu, phantom memories, or peculiar moments of familiarity be subtle invitations to explore something far greater? Have you ever stepped into a place you've never been and felt certain you'd been there before? That sudden surge of familiarity, so vivid it almost feels like a memory trying to resurface, is commonly known as déjà vu. It's a moment many of us experience, yet few of us fully understand. While conventional science has long tried to explain it as a harmless glitch in the brain, what if déjà vu isn't a mistake at all? What if it's a brief window into something much more profound, possibly even a glimpse into another version of reality? Déjà vu, which translates to already seen in French, is often described as a fleeting moment where everything around you feels uncannily familiar, even though logic tells you it shouldn't. For example, imagine visiting a foreign city for the first time. You're walking through a park, taking in the sights, and suddenly, everything feels eerily recognizable. Each turn of the path, the smell of the flowers, even the faces of surrounding strangers. It's as if you've walked that exact route before. That unsettling familiarity, both impossible and undeniable, perfectly captures the strange and universal experience of déjà vu. Traditional explanations for déjà vu focus on how the brain processes memory. Neurologists often attribute it to miscommunication between the parts of the brain responsible for short-term and long-term memory, a kind of temporary overlap that makes you think you've already experienced what you're actually encountering for the first time. Others suggest it could be a moment when the brain echoes the present, creating the illusion of familiarity by repeating sensory information in rapid succession. While these theories make sense on the surface, they don't explain déjà vu's almost mystical quality, the way it feels less like an error and more like a deeply connected moment, as though something far bigger is at play. Some scientists, particularly those intrigued by quantum physics and multiverse theory, suggest an alternative explanation. What if déjà vu happens when two parallel timelines briefly synchronize? Imagine that alongside the life you're living right now, countless alternate versions of you are playing out every possible choice and outcome across different dimensions. This idea, drawn from concepts in string theory and the multiverse, proposes that infinite versions of reality exist simultaneously, each just slightly out of sync with the others. When déjà vu strikes, could it be that for an instant your timeline aligns with another? In such a moment, that inexplicable familiarity might stem from experiencing not just your present surroundings, but also echoes from one of these alternate realities. Consider someone visiting a historic site like an ancient temple. They're certain they've never been there before. Perhaps they've only seen photos of it online. Yet as they explore, they feel oddly at home, recognizing details of the architecture or anticipating what might be around the next corner. Neuroscience might chalk this up to stored fragments of miscellaneous information resurfacing. But the multiverse theory offers another possibility. In one parallel timeline, a version of themselves not only visited this temple but spent significant time there. The faint overlap with that alternate life creates the strange, dreamlike sensation we call déjà vu. We're not entirely without scientific grounding when it comes to these theories. Cognitive neuropsychology, for instance, has studied how déjà vu interacts with memory and perception. Research shows that people often experience déjà vu during moments of heightened self-awareness, suggesting it may involve complex metacognitive processes. Essentially, your awareness of how you're processing memories in real time. This alone is fascinating, but it becomes even more thought-provoking when we consider how quantum theory frames the nature of reality itself. Quantum mechanics has shown that particles can exist in superpositions, states where they simultaneously occupy multiple places or forms until observed. This concept gives rise to speculation that consciousness, too, might be capable of tapping into multiple realities. If memories exist, not just in our brains, but across vast, hidden dimensions, déjà vu might represent our mind brushing against one of these elusive realities. One idea linking déjà vu to the seventh dimension is its ability to sit outside the typical bounds of time. In the seventh dimension, as explored in string theory, space and time collapse into an interconnected whole where every possibility coexists. Déjà vu could happen when your consciousness momentarily pierces this dimension, allowing you to glimpse memories or experiences from another timeline, a timeline where events played out differently, but still left an imprint on the greater fabric of existence that we all navigate. Of course, many questions remain. If we are occasionally glimpsing alternate timelines or memories tied to higher dimensions, why does it happen so unpredictably? Is there a way to tap into it more intentionally? Or are these moments destined to stay fleeting, mere whispers from a vast unknown? Still, as we search for answers, déjà vu offers a tantalizing clue about the nature of reality itself. It challenges the boundaries of what we understand memory to be, and perhaps, just for a moment, it lets us see that we're connected to something far greater, a web of possibilities that might stretch into realms we're just beginning to imagine. If déjà vu is a glimpse into these other dimensions, what other experiences might link us to the unseen? What if the memories you've forgotten aren't just locked away in your brain, but scattered throughout your body or maybe even beyond it? This idea, known as body memory, suggests that the physical self isn't just a vessel for thought, but an archive of experiences. It might sound unusual at first, but there's growing evidence that our bodies silently carry memories that influence our lives, even when we don't consciously recall them. These memories may be tucked away in our muscles, in the rhythm of our movements, or even in how we react to our surroundings without understanding why. Body memory challenges the traditional view that memory is strictly brain-based. Unlike explicit memories, such as remembering a person's name or the details of an event, these are implicit memories imprinted into your body's routines and reactions. Think about riding a bike. Even if years go by, your body tends to remember how, even if your mind doesn't. This type of procedural memory is deeply ingrained, allowing skills and habits to endure without the need for conscious thought. But body memory also extends beyond simply how-to knowledge. For example, individuals with dementia may lose the ability to recall specific moments or names, but maintain their ability to perform movements like playing a piano piece they learned decades ago. These types of retained skills suggest that memory isn't always stored in the mind alone, but body memory takes on a whole new dimension when we consider traumatic experiences. Trauma often leaves an imprint that isn't as easily accessed or verbalized. Researchers have found that our bodies can store trauma in ways that show up through physical sensations or reactions rather than explicit recall. A certain smell, sound, or even a location might trigger a sense of unease or hyper-awareness, even when we're unable to trace it back to a specific memory. In these cases, what's stored in the body bubbles to the surface in response to environmental cues. For instance, someone who experienced trauma in a chaotic, loud place might feel sudden physical tension when entering a crowded, noisy environment. These reactions aren't random. They embody the deep connection between memory, emotion, and the physical self. Thomas Fuchs, a scholar in phenomenology, has explored this connection in detail, categorizing body memory into a variety of forms. Procedural memory covers learned skills, while situational body memory reflects habits tied to specific environments. He also described traumatic and pain memory, which can involuntarily reawaken sensations related to past experiences. By his framework, body memory isn't abstract or merely symbolic. It's tangible, played out through physical reactions like muscle tension, shifts in posture, or changes in heart rate. Maurice Merleau-Ponty, a philosopher, expanded on this by suggesting that our bodily awareness provides a type of know-how rooted in our senses and movements. In his vision, the body isn't just a personal archive. It connects us to shared universal experiences. This opens up the possibility of collective memory, an ancient concept where certain memories transcend the individual and become part of a wider, shared consciousness. Ancient spiritual traditions echo these ideas, sometimes in surprising ways. Consider the notion of soul fragments, a belief held in many indigenous and mystical practices. Soul fragments are thought to be parts of a person's essence or memory that become scattered through intense emotional or spiritual experiences. These pieces can influence a person's actions and feelings, even when they're unaware of their presence. While modern science doesn't speak directly to the spiritual aspects, parallels exist in how trauma and certain emotional memories behave, remaining elusive to conscious thought, but alive in how the body reacts to the world. Interestingly, therapeutic approaches that work directly with the body often unlock these hidden memories in surprising ways. Movement-based techniques, such as functional relaxation, focus on physical sensations to help people confront and process difficult emotions. These therapies tap into body memory by helping individuals access unspoken parts of their past, stored not in words, but in the rhythms and tensions of the body itself. For trauma survivors, this can create a pathway to re-experiencing and reframing events that were previously beyond conscious reach. It's a fundamentally different way of engaging with memory, less about intellect and more about intuition, using the physical self as a guide. As fascinating as these ideas are, body memory raises bigger questions. If your body can hold pieces of your past, could these memories also intersect with something larger, something beyond the self? Imagine your physical experiences acting like a local map, linking your own timeline to a sprawling web of shared human memory. This idea aligns with the ancient concept of a collective field, where individual memories weave into a universal consciousness. Could your own body memories echo experiences held by others in different times, or even dimensions? If that sounds far-fetched, think about déjà vu or sudden, vivid emotions that seem to come from nowhere. They might hint at a deeper connection between the individual and the universal, where our own forgotten experiences shape and are shaped by something grander. It's as if we're participating in a shared memory bank, one that transcends time, space, and perhaps even physical form. Some quantum theorists speculate about this possibility, suggesting that consciousness itself might tie into dimensions we're only beginning to grasp. So, if memory extends beyond the boundaries of the brain, into the body, into instinct, and perhaps into shared dimensions, what does that mean for how we understand forgetting? What we think of as lost might simply be hiding in places we haven't yet learned to look. If body memory connects us to something larger, it leaves one tantalizing question. Could those connections be influenced by forces we don't yet fully understand? Could quantum physics hold the key to understanding how we remember and forget? It might sound far-fetched, but some researchers think the answer could lie in the very structure of reality itself. For decades, quantum mechanics has revealed a world where particles exist in multiple states until they are observed, and where connections between objects can persist across vast distances, phenomena known as superposition and entanglement. These principles challenge our understanding of time, space, and causality, which has led some scientists to wonder, could the human brain and the memories it holds be interacting with these quantum processes? One such researcher, Hartmut Neven, has ventured into this uncharted territory. Neven, a physicist at Google's Quantum AI lab, suggests that consciousness might arise from quantum phenomena within the brain. He's not alone in this idea. The Nobel-winning cosmologist Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff have also proposed that protein structures in neurons called microtubules might act as tiny quantum systems capable of storing and processing information. These theories suggest that consciousness, and by extension memory, could be more than just electrical signals firing between neurons. According to Neven's approach, the brain might not merely house memories, but serve as a quantum computer capable of accessing realities beyond what we consider physical. Before diving into how this could work, let's talk about quantum entanglement. This phenomenon occurs when two particles interact in such a way that their states become linked, no matter how far apart they are. Change the state of one particle, and the other adjusts instantly, even if they're separated by light years. While entanglement has been demonstrated in experiments with photons and electrons, some researchers believe it could also occur at a biological level. In this view, certain structures in the brain might harness these connections to organize information in ways we can't yet observe, creating linkages that extend well beyond the physical limitations of individual neurons. Imagine your brain as a quantum computer. Instead of processing one piece of information at a time, like classical computers do, a quantum computer operates on superpositions, essentially calculating all possible outcomes simultaneously. Neven proposes that consciousness might function similarly, providing your mind with access to multiple timelines or dimensions all at once. In this scenario, memories could exist not as static files but as part of an interconnected web woven into the fabric of the universe itself. What you recall might even depend on which version of reality you are observing at any given moment. This framework might not be as outlandish as it sounds. Consider research into how anesthetics interact with consciousness. Studies have shown that certain quantum properties, such as the spin states of inert gases like xenon, can influence the potency of these drugs. These findings suggest that quantum interactions could play a role in how consciousness is sustained and disrupted. Building on this, researchers like Christoph Koch have speculated that superpositions within the brain might serve as the foundation for conscious experience. If they're right, moments of memory recall could involve the collapse of quantum states within the brain, aligning the observer with a specific timeline or dimension. Neven and his colleagues are exploring this idea further by hypothesizing that quantum systems might not just operate within the brain, but also interact with external quantum systems. For instance, experiments involving quantum computing have shown that biological molecules, including some found in the brain, can maintain coherence with artificial quantum systems. Picture a scenario where the brain entangles with qubits, a basic unit of quantum information, to enhance its processing abilities. While this is still in the realm of speculation, it opens up a stunning possibility that forgotten memories aren't erased, but are instead stored in dimensions accessible through these quantum processes. The implications of this are staggering. If it's possible for consciousness to step beyond the limits of what we perceive as time and space, it might explain why some people report recalling memories they never consciously formed, or why certain experiences like déjà vu feel like echoes from an alternate reality. These could be direct results of quantum entanglement bridging timelines, allowing fragments of parallel experiences to bleed into awareness. Of course, this theory is not without its skeptics. Some argue that quantum phenomena are too fragile to function within the messy, warm environment of the brain. Quantum systems ordinarily operate under highly controlled conditions, such as near absolute zero temperatures. Others point out that even if quantum processes do occur, we're a long way from proving how they might manifest as conscious thought or memory. Yet, as Nevin himself has said, anything that isn't ruled out by the laws of physics can be exploited by evolution. After all, evolution has had billions of years to work with, and what better tool than one that literally rewrites the rules of possibility? If quantum memory is real, it challenges how we think of forgetting. Rather than interpreting it as a loss, it might represent a shift in how the brain is tuned, a change in the observer that shifts attention away from certain pieces of information. Like a radio scanning frequencies, a brain aligned with different quantum states could hypothetically access distinct versions of the same experience, hidden within higher dimensions. From this perspective, memory becomes not just a personal archive, but a doorway to realities far beyond the confines of the physical brain. Even with all its unanswered questions, quantum consciousness theories provide an exciting framework for rethinking forgotten memories. They suggest that what we struggle to recall might not be gone, but waiting in dimensions we're only beginning to conceptualize. If your mind truly bridges timelines and entanglements, what does this say about the nature of self? Perhaps forgetting isn't an end but a clue, a starting point to understanding how deeply we're threaded into the universe's most hidden layers. What does it mean for your identity if your forgotten memories never truly disappear? So much of who we are is shaped by what we can remember. Our experiences, our relationships, the lessons we've learned. But the vast majority of those moments exist somewhere beneath the surface, outside of conscious thought. If those hidden memories still persist, perhaps in other forms or even other dimensions, how do they influence the person we think of as ourselves right now? This question strikes at the core of an existential puzzle. Your sense of self, the thread that ties together your past and present, is inseparable from memory. Yet if memory is more dynamic, if it extends beyond the brain, the body, and maybe even this dimension, it raises profound questions about how identity functions. Could the version of you in this timeline be shaped by memory fragments from others? And if forgotten memories linger somewhere unseen, are they still a part of you, silently guiding your choices and actions? Ancient spiritual traditions have grappled with this question for millennia. In Hinduism and Buddhism, for example, the concept of reincarnation suggests that identity doesn't begin and end with one life. Instead, it unfolds across countless lifetimes, each carrying residual echoes of the last. These echoes might manifest as instincts, affinities, or unexplainable knowledge, a sense of familiarity with a skill or place you've never consciously encountered. Some traditions take this further with ideas like soul fragments, suggesting parts of your spiritual essence may scatter across different times, places, or even different versions of reality. From this perspective, who you are isn't limited to one unified experience, but is instead a mosaic of many influences, including those hidden beneath conscious awareness. Modern theories align with this in surprising ways. In the multiverse model, physicists propose that infinite versions of you exist simultaneously, each shaped by slightly different decisions, circumstances, and experiences. Picture all the variants of yourself, branching out like the leaves of an enormous, unseen tree. Some versions of you might carry memories of moments you've forgotten, or never lived in this timeline. If quantum consciousness allows these versions to interact, even fleetingly, it could explain why we sometimes sense guidance or recognition with no clear origin. A gut feeling to make a particular choice, an unshakable sensation of having been here before. Could these be subtle influences from alternate selves connected across dimensions? Real-world examples suggest this might not be entirely imaginary. Throughout history, there have been reports of people recalling events or skills with no clear explanation. Think of children who show remarkable proficiency in playing an instrument or speaking a language they've never been taught. Skeptics often dismiss these occurrences as coincidences or the result of unnoticed exposure, but others see them as potential glimpses into shared or collective memory. These abilities hint at something broader, that the boundaries of individual memory might not be as fixed as we imagine. Perhaps memories can seep through the cracks between timelines, pooling into the consciousness of an individual in unexpected ways. Ancient wisdom suggests that forgotten memories, whether they emerge from this life, past lives, or parallel realities, might not be entirely dormant. Instead, they act as whispers, gently nudging us along. Think of how a brief sense of recognition, a sound, a scent, a passing face, can pull you in a direction you might not have otherwise taken. These moments could be fragments of a larger narrative, reminding you of something beyond your current awareness. If we frame identity as something fluid and interconnected, these fragments aren't flaws or gaps. They're pieces of a much larger puzzle, shaping and reshaping the person you're becoming. For instance, memory's influence could explain why people gravitate towards certain paths in life, why someone feels destined to create art, explore a specific field of study, or connect with a certain culture. These instincts may reflect more than preferences. They might be traces of a deeper connection to past experiences, either your own or from a wider collective memory. Even mundane decisions like choosing to take the stairs instead of the elevator could hint at the subtle ways your forgotten memories guide you moment by moment. What if each choice brings you closer to, or further from, rediscovering a part of yourself hidden in another dimension? This possibility turns the idea of forgetting on its head. Instead of seeing lost memories as gaps, maybe they represent parts of ourselves we've yet to fully access. If your identity stretches across multiple timelines and lifetimes, then forgetting becomes less about what's missing and more about what's waiting to be reclaimed. Imagine bringing all of those fragments together, not just the parts you consciously remember, but the instincts, sensations, and intuitions tied to a vast, hidden reservoir of experiences. Reclaiming those memories, whether through meditation, body awareness, or moments of intense synchronicity, might mean stepping into a richer, more expansive version of yourself. If your forgotten memories are still present, shaping you from the shadows, then your identity is far more interconnected than you've ever imagined. It's not just the compilation of what you've lived, but a reflection of everything you've ever been and could yet be. Each forgotten moment, each fleeting echo, is a reminder that who you are might run deeper than the boundaries of this moment, this body, or even this life. So, what would it mean to truly remember everything, the connections, the choices, the dimensions of self that exist beyond your current awareness? What if your forgotten memories were never truly gone, but waiting, hidden in a dimension beyond what you can perceive? The idea that they could persist in a reality outside time and space challenges everything we assume about the mind. That forgotten moment you think is lost might still exist, echoing in ways you haven't yet understood. So, what memories would you reclaim if you had the chance? What would they reveal about the person you are or could become? Perhaps the answers don't lie in trying to remember, but in learning to listen to the whispers of a reality far greater than we know.